This is Lynn Woods from Calico Fabric, and here are the instructions with pictures on how to make a pillowcase. It's a very simple pillowcase. You should be able to make several. The cut edges of your cuff fabric and the body of the pillowcase are at the top and the bottom, and the woven edges, are called selvages, are going to be on each end. So fold those fabric pieces in half with the selvages together and mark the center of each width with pins so that you can match those pins together. So right side of the cuff fabric facing up, right side of the body of the fabric pillowcase facing down, and pin those two pieces together across the top. So don't worry if one piece of the fabric is wider than the other, that's fairly common. Now you're going to roll up the pillowcase body fabric until you see the bottom of the cuff fabric. And you'll make a fabric sandwich by bringing up the bottom edge of the cuff fabric and pinning to the other two layers. Match the center points and then pin all the way across. So you'll have 3 layers: cuff fabric, body of the pillowcase fabric, and then the cuff fabric again. Pin all the way across, and then you'll have a tube like this, which is ready to be sewn. The body of the fabric you need to keep away from the seam. You're only going to have those 3 layers, and you're going to enclose them in a 1/2 inch seam. You can use your machine seam guide as a reference to keep it straight. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning and end of the stitching to secure the stitches. And you can see the roll of the body of the pillowcase fabric is in the inside there. You're going to pull that out now that the seam is done, out of the tube, right sides out, and you'll see a wonderful finished cuff with the top seam of the pillowcase body enclosed in that cuff, and you won't see that seam again. Then press the cuff seam flat on both sides. This makes your pillowcase look very professional, which is what you want. And the cuff is now ready to be sewn. Now, if you have extra width of fabric on one side or on both sides, what you want to do is fold the pillowcase in half, draw a line down there, and then cut that extra fabric off. You don't need it. So just go ahead and cut it off. Then you're going to pin the pillowcase together, right sides on the outside. So you're going to be sewing on the outside of the fabric, and sew a 1/2 inch seam when you get to the edge of those 2 pillowcase edges. Stop with the needle down, and then pivot about 90 degrees and continue sewing the bottom with a 1/4 inch seam. So pivoting creates that nice sharp corner, which when you're done sewing the side seam and the bottom seam, trim that off so that you have nice sharp points on the corners. On the where this is the inside, or rather the outside of the pillowcase, you're going to iron that seam flat and then turn the right side of the pillowcase to the inside, and this is what it's going to look like. You'll again enclose that seam by sewing a 1/2 inch seam down the sides and the bottom. Try to match the cuff fabric too, and then again pivot at the corner. Stop with the needle about a 1/2 inch from the bottom edge with the needle down, pivot, and then once that seam is done, turn it, the pillowcase right side out. If there's any extra little threads that didn't get enclosed, just snip them off. You'll have a finished pillowcase with enclosed seams on the inside of the pillowcase, which makes it very nice. You'll never see a raw edge. If you have any questions, just give me an email, info@calicofabric.com. Thanks for watching.